Hey everyone, Paul ASM. Welcome to my video build of Revell's 125th 71 Oldsmobile 442. So yes, we're back, another video build. We're going to go through and build this kit from Revell. It's a fairly new kit. I think it's a 2009 floor pan, chassis, etc. with a 2022 body, interior and glass, I believe. Thank you, James, for that information. It looks a great kit. We're going to start the video by going through the box quickly and then crack on with the build and complete start to finish, get this built. Please remember this is a single condensed video for ISM. If you want a much more in-depth 3-part video build series, join my Patreon. There's 3 30-minute videos on this build, a lot more in depth. I go into the techniques a little bit more, explain things a bit differently. You can go over there and have a look. Links are down below for my Patreon. There's all different tiers, and your support is what keeps me going doing this video. So thank you, everybody. Let's get started with this build and let's jump in with a quick look through the box. Right then, so the kit, it's a 2009 kit. The body is brand new, I believe, from 2022, along with the interior and the glass. Thank you for that information, James. You're a legend. Very clean bodywork, very clean parts, all nicely molded. No flash, no mismolded parts. Very well stocked kit as well. Plenty of parts in here. A few option parts that we're not going to use. You get a choice between a manual and automatic gearbox. Chrome sprue is very good, but unfortunately, as usual, the locator points for the sprues are right where we want them, so we're going to have to re-chrome those. Chassis is good. Loads of parts. Automatic manual gearbox. 2 sets of pedals. Really great kit. So if you're thinking of getting this, don't hesitate. It's a brilliant kit. Builds up wonderful as well, and it's a great looking car. The box art doesn't do this car justice at all, and like I say, you do get quite a bit in the box. There's plenty of parts in there. A really great decal sheet as well. The decal sheet is really well stocked. Automatics, manual transmission there as well, and there's some of the parts for the convertible kit which we won't be using on this. Kit tires are good. Kit glass is very clean. Fantastic decal sheet. The decals go on absolutely brilliant as well. Nice wood decals for the interior, nice black and white trim for the exterior as well. Loads of decals for the engine bay or what have you as well. And these new Revell instructions are fantastic as well. So you got your full sprue layouts there, colour callouts at the beginning of the kit box as well. The page, sorry. Instructions, very clear and concise. Bit confused on some of the decals. There's quite a lot of them, so you need to pay attention. And obviously pay attention for any options on different parts that are installed, like your gearbox, transmission, tunnel, etc, etc. Pay attention and you won't go wrong. Like I say, the kit builds are great. There's your decal placement on the back page as well. You got a choice of white and black. So we're going to start up with parts cleanup. We're going to start with the body first. We're going to cut the bonnet off, wing mirrors, get the body all de-seamed and cleaned up and ready for primer. So nice easy clean up on all the parts using Ultimate Modern Products sanders on these. Once it's all cleaned up, we've got some Tamiya 3000 grit sponge that we're going to go around and key all the bodywork with. As always, there's a seam line from front to back on the body. Some of it will be visible, some of it won't. So just go around with your sander of choice. Mine is a UMP 220 sponge sander. And sand gently until all the seams are gone. Same on the back end. Like I say, that seam will run from front to back. Some will be hidden in window pillars. It's your job to try and find it. Some people like to use a marker pen. I don't. I just use my eye and fingernails to look for it. Just go around systematically until you've got rid of it all. If you feel the need to rescribe, rescribe. If you don't, don't. I felt the need to do it. So I've got my Holly scriber. I think this is the 0.2mm scriber. And I'm just going to deepen and clean up some of the panel lines as I go. Again, once we're done, we're going to go around with our 3000 grit Tamiya sponge and just key all the plastic. That way we get a nice uniform surface ready for primer, and we're introducing hundreds, thousands of micro abrasions into the surface that will help grip our primer. We also get rid of any glue marks or any nasties that may be on the body. And here we've got some Pro Scale pre-paint degreaser. I'm going to go around and give the body a quick wipe over everywhere to get rid of any contaminants that may be left behind. We're going to use a clean piece of dry paper to dry it all off, mount them ready for paint, and we are ready to rock and roll. So here we go, we're in the spray booth. We've got my Water CR3 Revolution. Got some Pro Scale pink primer. We're on about our second coat. Nice thin coat to begin with, and we can come in and start building the paint up. Probably 3-4 coats of primer on this. We're alternating patterns from left and right to up and down. Don't forget your bonnet, your hood, depending on where you're from, and your wing mirrors, and then the other parts are going to be body coloured as well. Paint them all at the same time. A couple of light coats, don't need to go heavy. There's no point in putting this primer on wet, it has no benefit at all. It's a microfiller primer, so it's going to fill any imperfections. After being dried for about 6 hours, we've got our 3000 grit Tamiya sponge again, and we're going to go around and lightly key all the primer to remove any high spots, any dust or debris that's landed in it, till we get a nice clean body to finish. Got some Pro Scale paints, General Motors Matador Red. We've got my Iwata CR3. This is my 0.3 Iwata Revolution. We're about 18 psi, and we're going to put down several light coats of paint. Again, no benefit in rushing the paint. You will not get a better paint finish by rushing it. Take your time, build the paint up in nice, light, thin layers. The red will cover very quickly over the pink, which is why I use pink primer. We're probably just at the end of our first coat here. I've sped it up a little bit so you can see what's going on. Pay more attention on the first few coats to getting all those nooks and crannies, the wheel arches, around the bumpers, around the windows, in the engine bay, rather than trying to get a wet coat down. There's no benefit in a wet coat on this paint. You're going to get your gloss from your 2K or your chosen clear coat later on. Same with the bonnet as well. We just go around, get all the edges, get underneath where the trim is. If there's any vents, get in the back of the vents as well. And make sure for every coat of paint you put on one body panel, you put it on the other as well. You don't be putting the bonnet on it later on and realise it's a different shade of red. Same with the wing mirrors. The spoiler, I did prep, prime and paint. I opted not to use it in the end. I know it's a part of the W30 package, I believe it is, but I just didn't like the look of it on the car. So while I've painted it and 2K'd it, I didn't actually use it in the end. Like I say, we're alternating cross patch patterns here. We go from left to right on one coat, let it flash off for 5-10 minutes, coming back to the second coat and going up and down. I reckon we're about 4 coats in here. The colour's really starting to come through now. It's looking absolutely fantastic. And like I say, just take your time, build the paint up nice and slow. Keep your airbrush on and off the paint, on and off air as you go off and off the models. And here we are, we're about, 6-7 coats in now. We've got full coverage, really nice deep red. I'm just going around getting all those little nooks and crannies and making sure we've got nice even coverage everywhere. The red is really deep, really nice, bright, vibrant red. Like I say, my inspiration for this was the picture I had on my Facebook page, and that's what drew me into doing this. Paint's dried now for 24 hours. We've masked off all the window surrounds with some Tamiya tapes. We used a combination of the 1, 2, 3mm thin tapes, and then filled it with the larger Tamiya tapes of 6, 10 and 18mm as we go. And we've got some Mr. Hobby Super Metallic Duraluminum. A couple of light coats of this through my CR3 at about 18 psi. Got all the wheel arches, the windows, the marker lights all done. Just a few light coats. Be very anal. Yes, I said that word. On your masking, you don't want to get any bleed through and get silver on your red, because it will look awful, trust me. Again, that's all dried over 24 hours, and the next day we're going to get some decals down. So I've opted for the black decals on this. Again, the reference picture I saw had this, and it looks great. So we've got the bonnet stripes, we've got the stripes along the wheel arches. Quite tricky to do these. They need to be lined up in several positions and lead on to the next one as you go. So I put the front and rear on, then put the center one in place. Typical decal procedure, we're going through, getting them wet, popping them on, getting them in position, getting all mushed out behind them with a cotton bud, hitting with the ultimate decal solution, starting off with the normal, working up to the strong, and just getting them all in place. There's a couple of tricky ones on the boot lid as well. These really thin ones are quite tricky on the back end, so take your time here. But once they're in place, hit them with a decal solution. Then we can get the 442 badge, get that on the back, get it lined up, get the moisture from behind it, and see our decal solutions. Now the chrome parts, we're going to dechrome these using bleach. This is in real time. This is some cheap, well, it's actually Domestos thick bleach. You can see how quickly it removes the chrome. Like I say, that's in real time. Very, very quick. We'll then rinse those off and dry them off under some running tap and dry them off with some tissue. Again, with everything dry, all the decals dried, we're about 12 hours later again, we can get some black Tamiya panel line wash. And we're going to put a wash in all the panels, let that dry for half an hour, get a clean cotton bud, some odorless mineral spirits, wherever your choice is to remove enamel washes, and wipe it over until we've got all the excess off. While all that's waiting to dry, waiting for 2K, I always leave it a couple of days before we 2K after decal and that. We're going to get the engine assembled. So the engine on this and all the other parts are absolutely fantastic. Nice detailed engine. We're going with the, let me try and think what I did now. Did I go for the manual? I think I did go for the manual transmission on this, so make sure you pick the correct option. But the engine bay is nice. We've got all the parts off here. We're going to cut them all off and clean them all up in one go. It's a few hours work. It is a bit laborious and tedious, but it's a quicker way of building the models. And what we're going to do is going to assemble the engine as per the instructions. Anything that's going to be sprayed the same colour. So we're going with the Oldsmobile engine blue on this. So anything that's going that colour in the engine is going on. We've got the radiator, surround and assembly here all being glued in place as well. And then we're in the booth. We've got some Mr. Servicer 1500 black through my Iwata Revolution CR3. Going to put a couple of coats of primer down on everything. So the Mr. Servicer primer lays down really nice. It's thinned with Mr. Hobby leveling thinner. Lays down really well. It takes a few coats to cover parts like this that are white. But just take your time. Again, don't hose the paint on. Thinner coats are more beneficial. Take your time and build it up. Same on the exhaust as well. Just like coats, concentrate on getting the angles, get the coverage rather than getting it wet. And just take your time working your way around till it's all primed. Same on the interior tub as well. We're going to flock the interior as well. And the chassis, probably the hardest part to prime. There's so many nooks and crannies and little angles to get in here. So just get a coat down, leave it to flash off for a minute and come back and get your subsequent coats down afterwards. Now, on the parts we de-chromed, we're going to use Mr. Hobby GX2 Gloss Black. We're going to apply a couple of thin coats and a couple of thicker, wetter coats. We want a nice gloss black on these because these are going to be sprayed in chrome. For the engine, we're priming in Pro Scale White Primer. This is going to be Oldsmobile Engine Blue, which is beautiful metallic blue. This colour, you can get this from Pro Scale. Absolutely stunning colour. The engine looks absolutely fantastic. And again, with a couple of coats. Probably about 4 in total, if I'm completely honest. Very light coats, just building up nice and slow. Spinning the engine round. We're at about 18 psi. We end up with a beautiful metallic shade of blue. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. Looks really good. Very, very nice colour. I know some of the earlier engines were gold on these, but I believe from 70 onwards, I think it was, they went to this blue. That's what my resources told me, so I went with that information. And then we've got some Napa black leather for the interior. So we're going to go Napa black leather on the seats and the door cards. We're going to use some black flocking on the floor pan. We've got some nice wood decals in the kit. And we're going to add some silver trim here and there to the interior as well. So again, Pro Scale paints, nice light thin coats. Just build it up slow. This Napa leather is one of my favourite colours of ours for the leather seats. I think it's a great colour. It's like an off grey black colour. And I think it looks absolutely fantastic on interiors. That and our Bordeaux red are absolutely great. We have a full range of leather colours. Go to our site and have a look. Tamiya LP5 now and all the rest of the trim. So we've got all the subframes here. A lot of the assembly parts, the radiator housing will all be painted in LP5 as well. Probably one of my most used paints, the semi-gloss black. So again, a couple of light coats. It covers really quick over the black primer. So you only need a couple of coats really. Go through my Off Air HPC Plus at the minute. And then we switch back to the CR3 to get our bright aluminium down from Pro Scale on the master cylinder for the brakes. Beautifully, very finely pigmented metallics. Same on the prop shaft, drive shaft, whatever you guys call it. There's different words from all around the world. I call it a prop shaft, a lot of people call it a drive shaft. And the inlet manifold as well. A couple of light coats, coverage is fantastic, really is, and it's so finely pigmented, it looks absolutely stunning. Like I say, a couple of light coats, build it up. There we go. Now, we've got some decanted Revell Chrome, spelled Crom. This is in the rattle can, the spray can. We've decanted it. We've thinned it 50-50 with Mr. Hobby leveling thinner as an experiment. And as I've said before, chrome is the holy grail of modelling paint. If we can find a chrome that's chromy enough and can be handled, we've got it. Alas, you can't, because all the good chrome paints, dull when handled. This one is no different to the exception at all, no exception to the rule. I thought I'd thin it with Mr. Levelinson to see how it behaved, and I think it did make it a little bit more durable, but if it was handled or rubbed, the chrome would come off. Now, thankfully, we don't need to handle this a lot, so I think we can get away with it on this one. On the Super B, I had to clear coat the chrome, and as long as you use a water-based clear coat, it will dull it a little bit, but it does become handleable. So with this, we put a couple of light coats down and a couple of wetter coats of the chrome. The finish is fantastic. If this was able to be handled, this would be the elixir of the gods, this stuff. It would be fantastic, but sadly it's not. It is a delicate chrome. I've seen lots of people saying leave it a week. This was left 5 days, and it still wasn't handleable at all. Pro scale, gunmetal now on the exhaust as well. Again, beautifully pigmented paint. Absolutely stunning colour. So a few light coats of this on the exhaust as well. Not going crazy. Just putting very, very light coats down. And now on to wiring up our engine. So we've got a gopher distributor to put on and drilling out all the locator points for the plug holes. They are very kindly marked by Revell on the kit. Going to drill out the hole for the distributor itself. So this is one of the gopher pre-wired, not the best, but I have a few of them in stock, so I'm going to use them until they're gone. And it's a case of snipping the distributor till it's at the right length you need. Quick test fit to get it in place. Yeah, that's about right. A little bit of glue. Bit of generic CA glue. You can get any of my glues from my links in my description. My Amazon store is there, as well as a list of all the products I use. So we'll hold that for a second, get the inlet manifold glued in place as well. Get our distributor in place. There we go. Then we start wiring it up. So we're going to cut the length of supplied hosing to roughly the right lengths. And this will be our rubber boots. They go over the spark plugs if they were there. Slide one of those over each one of the HT leads. Cut the HT lead to the appropriate length. We're going to mock it up into the hole. Now don't forget you've drilled into the engine, so it is hollow. So you can shove a lot of the excess wire in there. So don't cut the wire too short. Once you're happy you got everything the right length, put a little dab of CA glue in there. Pop the wire in its place and then pull that little rubber boot down so it sticks out at 90 degrees to the engine. And then repeat that for all the others, and there we go. There's our wired engine. It's not in the correct firing order. Nope, this is never going to run, so I'm not going to faff around with the firing orders. Battery, I've drilled out. We've popped some battery leads in there as well. And then we're going to paint the terminals with some Tamiya chrome paint using a cocktail stick just to touch them up. And the same for the fluid reservoir filler points. We're going to paint those in enamel red. Get the exhaust glued in place. Little dab of CA glue in each locating point. And again, very positively glued in place and onto the interior. So wood decals that come with the kit are great. They're a real nice addition. They really liven up this interior. They're wood decal with a chrome trim. So if you get them all in place properly, we're using standard decal procedures, put them in the water, get them off the backing paper, pop them in place, get them in situ, remove any excess moisture, and then hit them with our decal pens with the Ultimate Decal Solutions to get them set in place. And like I say, really, really nice decals, and it really does make this interior. Pro Scale 2K time now. So we've got our 2-to-1 mix of clear coat. So if it's 2-to-1 mix, you've mixed what? Say 10 milliliters of clear, 5 milliliters of the activator, and stir that together. So 2 parts clear to 1 part activator. Like so. When you're mixing this, use 1 pipette per bottle. Don't introduce that pipette into a different bottle or you can contaminate the bottle and ruin your 2K set. So 2-to-1 mix of clear to activator. Once you've done that, stir it all together to get the chemical reaction underway. Throw that pipette away then. We're never going to use that again. There we go. And then we get a fresh pipette. We get our thinner. And we need 5% thinner of the combined clear and activator mix, which would be 0.5 mil of thinner. Sorry, 0.75 mil of thinner. And then we mix that together again, get it all nicely mixed. We'll then strain that through a 190 micron paint strainer. And then we've got my Iwata Revolution 0.5 CR airbrush. Give the model a quick dust over with our Tamiya anti-static brush. There we go, make sure clean, give it a quick blow over with the airbrush, just air. And then we're going to apply a semi-wet coat to begin with, keeping that wet edge all the way along. We're about 25 psi on the airbrush. This is my 0.5 revolution, like I say. And on the first coat, we're just going for coverage. We're not trying to get a clear coat perfect first time. We just want full coverage of a semi-gloss clear. Keep the wet edge, be systematic, go around, make sure you get the bottom of your sills, under the wheel arches as well, and work your way from side to side, front to back, until you've got it fully covered. Obviously do the bonnet and the wing mirrors and spoiler and that at the same time. I'm not going to show it for ease, but they will be done at the same time. And then we'll pop this back in my plastic container, which you can just see to the left, and put our second coat down in about 5 minutes. So 5 minutes has elapsed. Here we go. We can get our second coat down. Now we're going a bit more purposeful now, a little bit more slower on the passes, a little bit more paint coming out now. We're trying to get our full wet coat down. Now, don't worry if you don't get it fully covered on this pass. You just do your slower, more purposeful passes. We're going to pop it back in the plastic box for a minute, let it self-level, get it back out and have a look while we do the bonnet and the wing mirrors. Let it self-level, bring it back out, have a look, and if it needs a little bit more, you can. So while it's technically a 2-coat system, you can apply more if you need. So like I said, I've gone round, put the full wet coat on. I'll just have a quick look for any visual imperfections. I think does it need a bit more now? No, it doesn't. Pop it back in the booth, take it out a minute later, have a little look. Now, this is going to dry as you see it now. So if you can see flaws in the paintwork, any ripples, any orange peels, it needs a bit more clear. Don't be afraid to put a bit more down. The Pro Scale 2K is very, very forgiving. You can put a lot more down before you have any issues. Like I say, we want to get as glass-like a finish now as we can to save a lot of sanding and polishing later. So just have a look, use the light to your advantage, angle everything. If you think you can see anything that isn't quite as smooth as, like that boot lid, I can see there's a little bit of orange peel there. There we go. We get rid of that. Just put a little bit more down, pop it back in your box for a minute or so, take it back out, have a little look. And again, if it needs a little bit more, give it a little bit more. So it's been back in the box for a minute. I've let it self-level. Just having a full look around before I fully commit to putting it away. And I think I spot one little bit that just needs a little bit of a pass over. And there we go. I'm happy with that. So that's going to cure now for 5 days in that box. Meanwhile, we're going to crack on and get all the engine assembled. So everything's done now. It's been painted up. We've got some CA glue to hold the transmission in place. We're going to glue the interior in, so the seats are in. Transmission center consoles in. We've got the door cards in place as well. Using just generic CA glue, we're going to glue all this in place. So just put it in an area where you're not going to see a mass of it. Final chance to get your decals fully burnished down. If you think something's not quite burnished down, now's your time to do it. Don't get any CA glue on your fingers, be very careful. And there we go. There's our interior in. The wood trim looks fantastic. Napa black leather looks great, as does the flocking on the floor. You can't really see it on this video. You can see it on my Patreon videos where I go much more in depth on the build. We've got the firewall in place as well, and we're going to glue the engine in. So as I say, over on my Patreon, there is 3 30-minute build videos of this. This is one condensed video of that build. All different voiceovers, all fully explained, everything in depth. So if you want to see a more in-depth build, become a patron in the link down below. It's a monthly tier, monthly payment. Starts off at £3. £5 a month, £6 a month will get you access to everything. You get early access in all the videos, all the full-length videos, access to an exclusive supporter chat on Facebook, a supporter group. You get perks as being able to propose video builds and reviews and what have you. And you keep these videos going. Without the patron support, I couldn't keep doing this. This is what keeps me going. So if you'd like to become a patron, there's links down below. You'll get access to much, much more than you get for free on ISM. And yeah, anyone who becomes a patron, it's much appreciated. So we've got the LFA wheels now. These are spare wheels from my Lexus LFA. I was looking for some wheels to fit this kit. These were going spare, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to pop these on this. We've got some spare wheel discs and calipers that came from an old Tamiya kit that fit on the wheels as well. And we've painted those up in super metallic iron from Mr. Hobby. We've painted the center of the hub with Vallejo Model Air colour black, sorry, and we're painting the calipers in Tamiya enamel red. And there we go. Wipe off the excess wash on the wheels. And we've got to somehow bodge these to fit the car. So we're going to use some Plastruct rod and tubing. As you can see here, that piece is a little bit long. But we're going to try and adapt this so we make a hub for the wheel, and then using some aluminium rod or tubing that we're about to pop in here, that will hold our hub in place then. So this is going into the existing mounting point. It's a perfect fit for it. Just needs pushing in a little bit with my Gerber pliers. There you go, just that piece in there to get a test fit length. Now, RIP, I broke my cutters doing this, so I had to go to the razor saw to cut the aluminium tube. But we pop it in place, glue it in, and then with the tube attached to the wheels, that then slots over that rod. And this is a very quick test fit at this point. They seem to fit okay. Now, 2K has been cured for 5 days now. We've got some Trizec 3, 6 and 8000 pads. We're going to flat back the 2K, working through the various grits of sandpaper. That way we'll thin out the 2K, we'll get rid of any dust spot, any imperfections, and we can come back and polish it all up with the Ultimate Polish system. The 3M Trizec pads are very, very efficient. They use wet. I've got a little bit of fairy liquid, washing up liquid, Dawn dish soap, wherever you call it, where you're from, in the water. As you can see, it flats the paint right back. And this is what the goal is now. We're going to flat it back, and then with some Ultimate Polish compound, we're going to polish it all back up and get a beautiful high shine back. So the compounds are much more aggressive polish. So we'll use this step first. So we go all over the body with this in circular patterns, being wary of raised areas or corners where the paint is inherently thinner. And then we buff it all off with a clean cloth. And you'll see we get a lot of the shine back just off the compound alone. We'll then clean all that off. And then come back with our polish. So this is a much, much thinner polish. There we go. Much, much more thinner. Not as aggressive, but this will get rid of all the very fine micro abrasions from the pads and the compound. And it's just going around the whole car. What I've condensed into about 30 seconds here probably takes well over an hour. As I say, you can see this in much more depth over on my Patreon if you wish. But this will bring back the nice high shine of that beautiful 2K paintwork. And we'll go over it with a nice clean bit of t-shirt material. This is all I use on my models. And get that beautiful high shine, deep Matador red shining again. And it looks great. And you can repeat any step of this along the way. If you think it needs more polishing or more sanding, you can. Windows going in. The glass fits absolutely perfect. We're going to use some Bob Smith's Super Gold here. This is the odorless glue. It doesn't fog plastics. You're still going to be careful though. Once we've got it in place and got the glass in the right position, it actually moved on me, but luckily it didn't cause any damage. We can grab some Kicker on a micro brush and just touch it to it. Like this. Always wipe off the brush though, like I've just done there. And then just touch it very gently. Kicker will destroy your glass, so don't get it anywhere near it. Repeat that for the front as well. Like I say, the glass fits in perfect. The kit is really, really good. It is a fantastic kit. One step I did forget, or nearly did forget, was painting the inside black on the roof lining and A and B pillars, but we get to that in a minute. Just going to get the radiator housing in place, and there we go. Just remembered and thought, dope. I actually forgot on my Corvette to do this, and somebody pulled me in the comments, and it was simply a case that I forgot. And I very nearly did on this one. I remembered at the last second. It's got some Vallejo model colour black, thinned with a drop or two of water. Any excess can be wiped off with a moist cotton bud, and I definitely did not lick that then at all. Then we can get the interior in for a quick test fit. How good does that red look? It looks absolutely phenomenal. It really does look good. So quick test fit. Reprise the body out to get it in, and then some shea glue on the mounting points at the back. Hit it with a Kicker, and then we can get our chassis in. Now this is a bit tricky to do. You've got to get the back end in first. So you need to widen the back end. Pardon me. So just ease it out. until the back slots in. And then right on the rear part there as well. Nice and easy. And then the front piece, it needs to slot into the fan housing. And there we go. She's in. What a great looking engine. That blue looks absolutely fantastic. There we go. She's in place. Wheels have gone in as well. We had to trim them a little bit, but they have fitted in place. So it's a case of trying to get it in through the wheel arches, because these wheels aren't meant for this kit. They're a bit bigger than the standards. We need to line up our discs and calipers because they're attached to the wheels. And then once we've got it all lined up, we're going to hold it in position, grab some of our Bob Smith's glue, get it on the hub where it attaches to the metal we put in, and then hit it with some kicker. And just hold it while it glues itself in place. Same on the front. We can get it all in place like this. And I've got to say, for wheels that I wasn't initially looking for, because these were not the wheels I was looking for, these wheels look fantastic on the kit, I have to say. Got the air cleaner in place, the carbs are in, we've got the decals on the air cleaner as well. There's some decals to go on the radiator housing as well that come in the kit, and a big decal that goes on the air cleaner itself. We've got several hoses to put in there, the batteries in there that we wired up earlier, and these bumpers that we chromed. We've painted the grille black with some enamel paint. We've got the colour part in there that's in the body colour. A couple of dabs of CA glue. And like I say, we don't need to handle this a lot. So we can glue it in place without causing too much damage. Same on the back end. A couple of strategic blobs of CA glue where required. Pop it in. Just gently handle it as little as possible and hold it until it glues in. Wing mirrors, we're going to do it the daring way. And we're just going to glue them in place. So a little bit of Bob Smith Super Gold. Line it up very carefully. Pinning them would be the best idea, but I went all out on this one and thought, right, we'll do it. Because it's either going to glue on first time or we're going to drop it and put CA glue all down the side of the car. But I got great confidence in my skills, and there we go, perfect. Door handles the same as well. They were all glued in place, quite tricky. Look at those in a second. We've got the bonnet. Are these like bonnet stays? They will hold it on. You turn them. I think they are. And the same for the door handles as well. Just a little drop of Bob Smith's. Glue them in place. So you need nerves of steel and a nice steady hand here. There we go. That's those in place. And then the exhaust tips. I was going to replace the exhaust tips, but I decided not to at the end. Use the kit ones. I've done the red and yellow marker lights on the front and rear of the car as well with some Tamiya acrylics. Normally do it before 2K, did it afterwards this time, and I think it looks a little bit better. So I think going forward we'll do that from now on. And then the final step, we've got some Ultimate Spray Shine here. This is basically a spray wax on a nice clean glasses cleaning cloth. And we're going to go around and we're going to give all that bodywork a good buff up. It's basically a spray wax, so there's no abrasiveness to it. You don't need to rub it in, you just got to rub it on. Get it all over it, let it haze up, and then buff it off. You'll end up with a beautiful, beautiful shine. And there we go. She is all done. Engine bay looks great as well. I very rarely paint underneath my bonnets. Don't know why, just very rarely do. I have a quick wipe over. I think this looks fantastic. Beautiful Matador red. The wheels look great. The stance is perfect on the car, I think. I know a few people didn't like the wheels, but I think they look really good. And what a great kit this is from Revell. Absolutely superb. Highly recommend this one. It's a great looking kit. The engine bay is great. The interior is great. The kit itself, I can't pick fault with it anywhere at all. It's just a brilliant, brilliant kit. Highly recommend this one. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Built this one in 8 days. It was great fun to do. The interior looks great with those wood decals as well. And yeah, one of my favourite builds to date, this one. And there we go. Here's some pictures of it taken with my Canon R10. I think the stance is absolutely perfect. Those discs and calipers look great behind the wheels. I think I made the right decision on not refinishing those wheels as well. I think they look great. And overall, what a great build. So this was prepped with ProScale pre-paint degreaser, primed in ProScale pink primer, painted in ProScale GM Matador red. Kit decals went on without a problem. We gave her a black panel line wash from Tamiya. It was ProScale paints 2K clear coated. We flattened that back with 3M Tri-Zip pads and the Ultimate Polish system to polish it all back up to a high shine. Wheels were off a Tamiya Lexus LFA. The discs and calipers were off a Tamiya R34 Skyline. Interior is done with Pro Scale flocking and Napa Black leather. And there we go. What a great kit. There we are then. So, I can't say enough about this kit. It was a brilliant kit to build from start to finish. Went together great. It's a very detailed kit. Lots of options in there with the manual and automatic gearboxes. Loads of great decals. The wood trim on the interior just livens it up no end. It looks absolutely fantastic. No fit issues on the kit whatsoever. And I'm very happy with the job on this one. From the colour I painted it in, that Matador red looks just sublime. It really does look great. With the random wheels I just picked up from kind of spares and popped on there. The stance looks great. The colour looks fantastic. Pro Scale paints doing their thing again. It just turned out great. Absolutely brilliant kit. Very detailed engine as well. And yeah, top marks to Revell on this one. It's definitely one of my favourite builds so far. And I highly recommend this kit to anybody. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. If you built this kit, you're thinking of getting it, let me know in the description down below. I know there's different offerings out there from AMT. This was a buddy builder with Joe Camilleri. He built the AMT 69. So yeah, it was an interesting build. 8-day build from start to finish. And like I say, just looks great. Very happy with this one. So there we go. That's it. Another one off the bench. What is next, you're asking? Right, the next video is that. I reviewed it the day in ISM. That one is very nearly done as well. Obviously, you guys and ISM are behind. You're about a month behind. Patrons get early release on the videos. You can see the date there. It's the 6th of June. So it'll be about the 6th of July when you see this over on ISM. So that's next. That's nearly done. The videos of that will be up. And like I said for the video, if you want more in-depth videos, this is a single condensed video. I've got a 3-part series on all these videos going forward on Patreon. You become a patron. I think it costs you about £6 a month to become that tier, eligible for that. You get access to everything, all full-length videos, a weekly bench update. You know, you can vote on builds, pick subjects for review, get added to a Facebook messenger group. There's about 60 of us in there. You can chat to everybody, chat to me, ask me questions as well. Become a patron down below. There's links down there. Pick the applicable tier and become a patron and help support my content. There's also a PayPal me and a Buy Me Coffee link if you want to do it that way. And also in the description down below, there's links to everything else to do with my social media. You've got ISM, Facebook and Forum. We've got UMP Retail, Pro Scale Paints. We can get these fabulous paints from. I've been using on this build. You've got links to all the Off Air Hangouts, the Live at the Bench page. My other channels there for the other live streams I do every morning. There's links to all the products I use in my videos. There's an email address to get in touch with me should you want to chat. There's a link to my scale mates. So you can look at all my kit as well. And that's it. So there we go. Another build done and dusted. Like I say, if you built this kit, let me know your thoughts of it in the comments down below. And if not, leave a comment and let me know what you think of the video itself. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you're that way inclined. Make sure you hit that bell notification to get notified of the latest videos. And I will catch you all very soon for the next video. Enjoy the rest of the day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.